Good morning, YouTube. We're up at the Mississippi Ponderosa, and it got cold last night. Got down into the lower 30s, as evident by the frost on the ground. I'll try and get a picture of it. Sun's up now, so it's kind of burning off or melting. We're starting with electrical today. We're gonna take and start running the wire to the cabin from the electric pole and put the outlets in. So hopefully we won't have an incident like last night where one of the extension cords that was hooked to the heaters went out and we woke up about frozen this morning. So let me get you turned around and I'll see if we can't get some of the frost that's on the ground and then show you what we're doing. All right, not a lot of frost. I know people that live in northern areas will see that's nothing. Down here in the south, it's something. See if we can get a shot up here. All that white back there is all frost. See, it's already right. This was all frozen this morning, but it's already gone off. Even my truck, well, all three of the trucks had frost on them, and now not so much frost. But that's okay. Sun will be up. It'll actually be up in the mid 70s today, so things will warm up. And let me show you what we're doing as far as electrical goes. All right, we've dug the trench from the pole, laid the conduit in, all the way over here to the cabin where we're gonna go in with it and then bring it out. James and Corey are unrolling the actual cable right now. It's a big braided cable. It's huge. Let them fight with that. Because right now our power comes from that one extension cord going up there to the air conditioner, and we're running the whole cabin at the moment with off of a 20 amp breaker. So once we get actual power going into the box, then life will be good. A little update on what we've done. The cable has been run through the conduit to the pole, and we've started burying everything. We got to about this point, then we stopped the burying because we need some play in the conduit to be able to run the wire under the house to go up into the box. It's going to be interesting because we're trying to do it on a diagonal, and there's a lot of pillars under the house, so we're not sure if we're going to be able to make that diagonal or if we're going to have to run a certain distance and put a 90 and come back the other way. So we'll see. It should be fun. It was fun filling this stuff in. The ground is like concrete. Digging it was hard even with a tractor. By hand would have been nearly impossible. If I'd gotten here a day sooner, I would have had a nice patch of honey mushrooms. But they're kind of past their point, and it got cold last night, so the frost has got them. There's another small patch in the yard as well. It's a shame. I heard they taste really good. Would like to have tried them. All right, well, maybe next time they grow.
Look at the flames. My booty is cold. Oh, we got lights.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, YouTube.
Hi.
It's Jimmy
And Millie.
with Boots and Bows Outdoors. We've been doing electrical this weekend.
It's been electrifying.
Shocking.
Illuminating.
Ooh.
Oh, I know, it's a big word.
Not the Illuminati, just illuminating.
Illuminating, yes. It's been a good weekend.
Yeah. We buried the cable underground yesterday. which was a task because it was, this is 4/0 cable. You can see about my thumb how big it is. Okay, and 2/0 cable. So we had 2 of these and 1 of these, and they were actually twisted together, almost braided, and they do not bend easily at all. And we had to get these through conduit, through 90 degrees in conduits, and going under the camp to get to the electrical box, and then bend them again to get it up into the electrical box. So it took us a few hours to do that, and the ground here is like concrete. Thankfully we had a friend of my brother's that came with his tractor and had a hook on it and was able to dig us a trench, so we didn't have to do too much digging, because I'm telling you, just putting the dirt back in the trench after we buried it about wore me out. So if I'd have had to dig that by hand, I'd still be digging right now.
Right. It wouldn't have been done.
Yeah, it would have. It's just almost impossible to dig in the ground here. It's crazy. But anyway, we got the cable in. We're hooked up to the pole, and Millie is super excited because we now have outlets. We're off the umbilical cord. We had a heavy gauge, I think it was a 12 gauge extension cord running from an outlet on the electrical pole to the cabin.
Very unsafe.
Right, and then from there, excuse me, there were more electrical poles, not electrical poles, there were more extension cords and surge protectors and all that, and it just was, getting to be overloaded, and it was not working
It
well.
was just not safe. In fact, Friday night, with the space heaters running, one of, not the main extension cord, but one of the other heavy-duty extension cords overheated, and
it failed.
It failed, so half the cabin went dark and cold.
Yeah, and Friday night was the cold night. It was down in the 30s. I mean, I showed you all in the first part of the video, the frost on the ground. So when we woke up that Saturday morning, it was incredibly cold. It was not good at all. So
I'm just happy that, well, it failed and it knocked everything out instead of causing a fire.
Right.
So so it really was it was a really good thing that our son-in-law was able to come up this weekend and complete, I don't know, maybe this is now phase 2 of electrical. Yeah. He still has at least one more full work day, if not 2, installing the socket, what are they called? Outlets.
Yeah.
Into the breaker boxes, not breaker boxes.
Into the gang boxes.
Gang boxes, all these words. To get the complete cabin plugged in, but what we did last night or yesterday afternoon was we prioritized where we really needed to plug in, and he was able to do that for us.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little back, last year when we started with the electrical, the son-in-law came down with me. I don't know if you were here that weekend, and we had to, so that if you're making a shed to house, these are the things you have to think of. First, you have to know your layout. Where are you going to put your walls? Where are you going to put your kitchen? Where are you going to put a TV if you are? What kind of heating and cooling are you going to use? What kind of hot water heater are you going to use?
Gas or electric?
Gas or electric. Well, and as far as the stove, are you going to have an electric stove or are you going to have a gas stove? So all of those are questions that he bombarded me with that first time, and it was a little daunting. Hello, Peanut.
Peanut, you need to chill, bro.
where do you want light fixtures, you know, in the ceilings, where do you want outlets. So you have to know all of that ahead of time. And then when he came back with materials, he put in these gang boxes, all the places we denoted that we wanted electricity, and ran, what's the yellow wire called?
Romex.
The Romex. Ran the Romex, matching up to our panel box here, the amount of amperage that was going to go through so that everything was distributed.
Right. We went with 12 gauge, which is a bit of overkill, but it might not be because we're making a run from the box to here, and then we have to go through, and we have a bunch of outlets that we had him put in, a bunch of lights. We'll show you. I've got floodlights on all four corners of the building outside. I've got outlets on all four corners of the building outside.
We were trying to prep. We were trying to prep
I need
for
them?
right, just in case. You know, what if we were going to do some sort of yard work, and it ran on electric instead of a gas-powered piece of equipment. So we were ready, set up for that.
The really nice thing was last night when sitting out by the fire, and then coming back to the cabin. Normally we got to sit there with our phones and have flashlights. With the two floodlights on, we have a porch sconce by the door. We could see everything. We were able to come in. The days are getting shorter. We get here later in the day a lot of times when it's getting dark, or it is dark. So now I have light outside, so when we have to unload the truck, I can see what I'm doing, see what I'm getting.
And as far as inside, we wanted to make sure we had plenty of outlets, not only for power tools, but just your everyday living. So even though it's a camp and we're weekenders here, there's lots of things to charge. So we are constantly charging phones, and we are constantly charging handheld game systems and laptops and iPads and cameras and microphones and things like that. So we wanted to make sure that we had plenty of outlets to carry all of that weight too.
Yeah. So I'll show you something real quick. Look up. Lights.
I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, you can see it. Right there, there's
light. There it is.
Yeah. So we can come in here.
Nope.
Can't quite do it with this way. I know I can do it when I'm facing the other way, but we have we have lights in the ceiling, so now we just flip a switch instead of having to plug in that one LED light that he had set up for us at one point, which is right there. We now can just flip a switch, have lights. We were able to take and just plug in whatever. Millie was actually running the vacuum a little while ago. I was like, how does it feel to just plug into the wall instead of having to find a spot on the surge protector on the floor?
And to just not trip over extension cords. That's really
not
nice.
Tripping over extension cords, or worse, having Rusty run into extensions and ripping things down.
Like literally ripping things down, because if he trips over the extension cord, then everything that's plugged into it comes down.
Yeah. So we're happy. We're happy, really happy. We now have some power is coming along. Next step, other than finishing up the electrical, is going to be sewer and water.
Tank. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to happen.
Any of you building a tiny house or a shed to cabin, and think about the electrical. I know a lot of people do it themselves. I will say it was a pretty daunting task.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would have been something I could have done without somebody knowledgeable to help us.
I could have done it. It just wouldn't have been as good.
Probably not as pretty too.
Yeah.
This is really pretty.
Yeah. So it was a godsend that we had somebody in the family that is an electrician and was able to help us do this. I mean, would have been doable. Brian's doing his, and you know,
Right.
one thing that I am not, I'm not going to say not good with, but not real familiar with or practiced in, is electricity, or you know, that kind of thing. As far as running the wire, I mean, I can change an outlet, I can change a switch out, that kind of thing, but you know, to have to hook into a box and run, you know, power to here, power up a box and put circuit breakers in and all that, I could do it, but have somebody that knows what they're doing, that's a no-brainer.
Well, and everything he's done is up to code, so that's really cool. And you know, that would have been a lot of research on our part to figure that out. And so it was a good thing that our guy, our son-in-law, was able to help us with this.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
So.
and then our son came out too and helped to help him, which thank goodness for that, because my son actually did a lot of putting the dirt back into the trench that they had dug so we could run the cabling, and he got under the cabin with my son-in-law, so to pull the cabling through. I was on the outside guiding and pushing and sweating and cursing and stuff and being all aggravated, but they you know, they did the lion's share of the work, and really happy, thankful that they were able to do that. So we'll show them our box and some of our stuff that we got in now.
Yeah, you're gonna give him a tour.
We're gonna give you a tour. This is the electric tour. Here's the box. We've got some breakers in. Still have some breakers up top that need to go in. We just had him hook up basically the essential things that we need right now, because he was running short on time, needed to get back home, which is understandable. Then that's going to be washer and dryer hookup, so that's way off in the future. We've got a whole lot of other things that need to happen before that does. But he was able to get the circuits in, and how he gets those wires in straight, I have no clue. Mine would have been a twisted mess, but okay. Then we had outlets. We got 3 outlets on this wall.
4.
4 with the one up top of the TV. And you can see the air conditioner is now plugged into an outlet instead of an extension cord.
Which is nice.
Yes, and then Millie's little stove is plugged in to
Which
the outlet
was a
down here.
Beast last night.
Yes, it was.
It worked wonderful.
We were toasty warm last night. This is a new space heater that we got to help the other 2 out, and we were quite toasty warm. It was, in fact, it got a little warm. I had to kick covers
I was
off.
hot. I was actually hot.
Yeah, but I think it only got down into like the low 50s last night,
Yes.
as opposed to the
It
lower
was-
30s.
It was warmer last night than it was the night before.
And Millie's charging her game. And then we have outlet up here, wall mounted TV, just for those days of inclement weather. Then the kitchen area, instead of having this plethora, we actually had 3 surge protectors sitting right here to plug in things, and if you wanted to use the microwave, you had to unplug
other stuff.
to plug the microwave in so it could run. Shouldn't have to do that now. There's another plug here. That's going to be a switch on the left hand side, then a plug here, and then when we get a larger refrigerator, that's going to go here. My son's room, there are some outlets in there, but they're not hooked up,
They're the same as our room.
Same as
one
our
in
room,
every
yeah.
wall.
so we didn't need that. Now let's go and take a look at outside. So here's one of the outlets that we have outside. We have covers for them, so they're outdoor rated. And Millie only bought a couple of floodlight bulbs instead of buying enough for all of them. So we have one here. Then this is the the sconce that we put up. I think Millie has a picture of it. I'll shoot that in, insert that in the video so you can see it lit up at night. Then I have another outlet here, another floodlight up here, and I'll take you around back, but it's pretty much the same thing on the back side. Outlet, floodlight, and same thing on the other end. So we're getting there. We're getting set up. Things are coming along. This will be the trench for, that's an old extension cord that got run over with a mower, but this will be the trench for the water. So bring that water into the cabin, and then once we get the septic system going, it'll be good. Hope y'all enjoyed the little tour and maybe picked up a tip or two, or gave you some ideas if you're doing a shed to tiny house cabin. You know, we're working with it.
Yeah, we are working with it. And I think the biggest advice I can give to people who are doing shed to house right now, and the tiny house as well, this qualifies as both, is to look at your layout and look at your floor plan, and realize that things will change. So things that I thought about in the beginning, now there were a lot more to think about. So the whole fact of the plumbing being on one wall, and you know, we tried to change it and that's not going to happen. So the other thing is, our shed was built on site. It's a Graceland 14 by 40, and you can look at it in some of our previous videos, but they came out and they built on site. When we purchased it, we were given one door and one window?
Two windows.
A couple of windows.
But
But
I added more.
I added a ton more because they were inexpensive at the time. And it was cheaper to add the windows than it was to actually go buy the windows and install ourselves.
Right.
And I wanted to bring in a lot of natural lighting, because other videos of other people with shed to houses I had seen, they were so dark, and I just thought, well, you know, natural lighting. Also escape, you know, ways to get out.
Right, there's no second door, so if, you know, you have a fire that's blocking us from getting to the door, we have two windows in our bedroom. We can pop one open.
And at least have an escape route.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if I had to give advice to anybody who is able to do a little bit of designing, really look at those windows. If you're like me and you want a lot, and where are you going to put them? Because actually the windows have become kind of a hindrance for furniture. You can see in our bedroom is really small, and we chose that, but there's no place to put the bed where you're not underneath the window. So now I'm knocking down that window shade over through the night, or it's interfering with the air condition, the window unit. So really think about your furniture placement while you're thinking about where you're putting windows. And if you're doing a shed to house like ours where they're coming out to build it, see if you can have a second door added. And I'm sure you can, because they let you do all kind of modifications. It just costs more money. I would do a back door. I think if I had to do this
I would
again.
have, over here, I would have another door.
Yeah.
Just for that, you know, safety factor, that if, you know, there's you know, a fire or something on one end, you can get out on the other end without having to crawl through a window. You know, this house is built on pillars, so I can get out the window, drop down, there's no problem. I'm 6'1".
Right.
Millie's 5 foot tall. I'm going to have to lower her down. You know,
but I can get out if I have to.
Yeah. I'll just throw her out. Fly, Millie, fly.
Not today, dear. And so like, even though the windows were great, it does take up our wall space. So then we had this whole issue of where the TV is not going to be centered in between windows. It's off center, and it's really throwing a lot of us off.
Yeah. The only thing that I found, I didn't know this, was it gets really, really hot here. We live in New Orleans, which is really hot and humid. It seems like it's hotter here.
It's a different, I don't know, can you say it's a different heat?
I don't know. The heat here is really, really bad. And with all the windows that we have, I can see once we get walls up, we're going to have to go with some thicker window covering.
And I will. It's just that I
Yeah.
can't do any of that until
Right.
we get walls and we get
Yeah.
some sort of molding or whatever. I don't know how we're going to work that. And so, yeah, there will be more thermal or some blinds, or like, these are just those, all of the windows except the door just have contractor paper shades. I love those things. They're cheap and they are great temporary
Yeah,
shade.
they're holding up actually quite well.
The only thing we've had problems is that, like, the kitchen's coming down because Corey was in there, our son-in-law was in there doing the outlets, and he bumped them. And our bedroom, because I hit it last night in the middle of the night.
I know the one on the front door, I've actually bumped those on it before. And
That one's actually like, not paper. It's more of, it's some sort of material. I didn't realize it when I bought it, and
Okay.
it's different.
Looks
You can
the same
feel
to me.
it looks the same, but you can feel it's a different texture.
Yeah.
It didn't
Anyway,
hold up
you
any
can
better.
knock the clips off kind of easy.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at,
they're just, and this is like one from home. That's not even one, because you lose them. So the one over there is the one it comes with, and they're not, the tension's not really hard on
Yeah.
them. Anyway, they work. But you're right. We're gonna have to revamp all of that when we get to that point.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, and I think being a shed to house, the heat's coming in too, because we have not a lot of barriers.
right, we didn't have a whole lot of insulation, and especially at the beginning, now we've got a lot more insulation, and so that's definitely going to help out.
So to tell you what we're going to do next, in the next month or two, we're looking for a person out here in this area that does septic tanks.
Yeah.
And then probably we'll have to save up money for that, because I don't expect that to be cheap. But we're going to let you go now, because we're off to go barbecue.
Yep.
We're going to barbecue some chicken and some sausage, and get a good lunch before we head back home.
Yeah.
To get ready for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's this coming week, this Thursday.
We'll be making oyster dressing and candy jams
Yeah, I'll be
and pumpkin pie.
making my famous oyster dressing. I might do a
You
video
might have to
on
video that.
Yeah.
That would be a really
Yeah.
good thing.
it.
All right.
All right, well, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and if y'all have any questions or comments, please.
We love
leave
the
them below.
comments.
Yeah, we do.
We like reading them. We like responding. You'll see responses from Boots and Bows, but I always access on my own personal YouTube channel. So you'll get answers back from me and in a different name. So from Boots and Bows.
Yeah.
But it's both of us. It's us.
Yeah.
So we do like to respond back. I have to tell, I don't know if I should tell it here, but one of our subscribers, which I think is one of your friends from years ago, Sydney White, Sydney and I had this big long conversation over camp stoves, because we use the camp stove to make the gumbo.
Yeah.
Well, Sydney, the camp stove blew up on me today. No, not today. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Almost had a new hairstyle because of it. There must be a leak on one of the valves, the
Yeah.
on valves. So I was able to use the other side, but I'm very upset because I really do like my little camp stove, and I do not want to throw it away. I just don't know how to repair
Yeah,
that.
the bad part is I think it's a Sears, because it's a Hillary brand, which I think was one of Sears' brands.
I think
for
somebody
camping stuff.
gave that to us when we started camping.
I think it was Mike and your sister and her
Mike and
husband.
Denise, yeah. I think they gave them to us. They gave it to us.
So yes, I think that was an actual Sears model of the Coleman camp stove.
Well, I'm gonna have to see if there's maybe a washer or something on the right
there may be some sort of gasket right at the knob where you
right
turn
at the
it
knob.
on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it just blew
Yep.
in flames.
Yeah. I was heating up pot roast
Yeah.
for dinner Friday night, and
Trying to figure out how to grab everything and throw it outside, but
I
I
mean,
was able to get the fire out and turn
as soon as we
everything
turned
off.
it off, yeah, he got the fire out. We turned it off. We were fine, and then we were able to use the other side.
Yeah.
Without
so we
it
still have one
leaking.
burner that works.
All right, that's enough
All right,
babbling.
guys.
All right,
Y'all
Bye.
have a good one.
bye.